Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, while this massive bull market signal is flashing on the Bitcoin chart, we are seeing BlackRock buy hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin right now as this bullish breakout is continuing for the price of Bitcoin, and we're also seeing the price run into the final area of resistance before potentially new all-time highs that could be coming very soon as a Bitcoin short squeeze is playing out right now, while Ethereum is still playing out this short-term bullish divergence, and Solana is still playing out this bullish breakout for this bullish pattern. So I'll be talking about all of that and so much more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before we take a look at the Bitcoin charts today, we need to talk about the Bitcoin news today, because on Monday we saw a massive net inflow into the spot Bitcoin ETFs, which means buying pressure for Bitcoin, because this money essentially goes to buy spot Bitcoin, and BlackRock was the largest buyer out of all of the ETFs on Monday because they saw the largest net inflow. So BlackRock alone essentially saw an inflow of over $315 million US just on Monday. And if we're looking at all of the Bitcoin ETFs in the US, the spot Bitcoin ETFs, we saw a total net inflow of around $479 million US just on Monday. So nearly $500 million buying up Bitcoin in one single day, which is of course helping to pump the price of Bitcoin here in the short term. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin charts today, looking on the weekly time frame, as I said in my last video and also recent videos over the last few weeks or so, I've talked about this chart right here and this major breakout in the weekly Bitcoin RSI above this descending line of resistance. And the last few times we've seen this confirm, we've seen a major bull run that's followed at least for the next few months, but usually around a year or so following this signal. So keep in mind here on the larger time frames at the moment, we're looking very bullish, at least based on this signal. And also on this chart, what we are seeing right now, finally on the 4-day Bitcoin chart after months, is a trend reversal signal in the super trend indicator on the 4-day Bitcoin chart. So of course, as of right now, this is currently breaking out to the upside, flipping the super trend indicator from red back to green for the first time in months here on the 4-day time frame. Now on other time frames like the 3-day chart and smaller time frames, this has already flipped back into the green for some time now, but on the 4-day time frame, it's finally just flipping back into the green, which is yet another bullish signal on top of all of the other bullish signals that I've been talking about here on the channel. And if we're taking a look at this 2-day Bitcoin chart, obviously, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago here on the channel, we already confirmed a breakout above this descending line of resistance, which at that time was sitting at around 65,500 give or take, and right now it's sitting closer towards 65,000. And over the last week or so, we actually came back down for a retest and bounced from that level, which, as I explained every day over the last half a week to 1 week approximately, this is bullish price structure, as I've been saying here on the channel over and over again, because anytime where we break out above massive resistance and then more importantly actually flip that resistance into new support and bounce from that level, that is very, very bullish. And we're continuing to see that bounce here on the 2-day Bitcoin chart with a further breakout to the upside, which is obviously bullish. So right now on the larger time frames, things are still looking very bullish, as I've been saying for a while now on the channel. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart right now, we are running into the final area of resistance before new all-time highs. That is right, we are running into this area that's sitting in between around 72,000 to 74,000. So based on previous price action, that's the final area of resistance before new all-time highs, because obviously this previous all-time high that we set back in March this year was sitting at around 73,500, so just underneath 74,000, which means obviously if we break above 74,000, we're breaking into new all-time highs, entering price discovery. And so just keep in mind, there's still the possibility that we could somewhat struggle in this price range, as we've seen previously back earlier in the year during around March and April, and even back during May, early June, we saw quite a lot of struggle around this area on the price chart. But if we can finally see a breakout above around 73 to 74,000, then we're looking extra bullish here on the daily time frame. And of course, in these larger time frames, we're already starting to look more bullish again, as I've been saying for some time. And not only are we breaking out from this descending broadening wedge pattern, we're also continuing to break out from this massive cup and handle pattern here on the daily time frame. And I mentioned this pattern a couple of weeks ago here on the channel before we saw this breakout. And then of course we confirmed the breakout. And then over the last 1 to 2 weeks, we actually came back down for a retest and actually held above this neckline, above the point of the breakout, which was sitting at roughly around 66,500, give or take. And we actually came back down to that level and held that level based on the daily candle closes, and now obviously bouncing from that level, which is bullish price structure. Once again, for as long as we're remaining above these critical levels on the price chart, and more importantly, bouncing from those levels, this is bullish. So for now, we still have this technical price target based on the cup and handle pattern still currently in play, and that's sitting at around $80,000 per Bitcoin. That is right, $80,000 per Bitcoin as a technical price target right now. But keep in mind, the price does not necessarily move in a straight line towards these price targets. It's very normal to see some slight pullbacks here and there along the way up. And if we're zooming further into the short term, looking at the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, we can obviously see a major breakout in the short term from this area of resistance, which was sitting in between around 68.7K to 69.3K, give or take, as I said in my last video. And as I said in my last video, if we see a breakout above that level, then that will potentially trigger a short squeeze, because we do have a lot of liquidity to the upside, which has now been taken out. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. But as of right now, my trading strategy is simply to remain long on the price of Bitcoin, because first of all, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago here on the channel, at some lower prices back down around here, I said that I've already accumulated a long position, and then right around here, I took a small amount of profits out of that long position and moved my stop loss into profits. But for now, I'm technically still in that long position. I've just obviously taken some profits out of that position, but I'm still currently in that long position. And so obviously when I'm talking about how I'm very bullish on the price of Bitcoin, as I've been saying for weeks now, especially here on the larger time frames, I'm not just talking BS, I'm putting my money where my mouth is, buying Bitcoin or going long on the price of Bitcoin. And if you want to trade these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto for yourself, personally, I take most of my trades and that trade right there over on Bybit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit down below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link down below this video to make your Bybit account and deposit on that account, then you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. And also, if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here, which is a 500 USDT position airdrop. So a free $500 trade just by making your Bybit account using that link, making a deposit and claiming the airdrop. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there's also Bitfinex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitfinex, which means if you're in the US or the UK, for example, or another country where you might not be able to access Bybit, you can access Bitfinex. So I'll also leave a link to Bitfinex below this video. And if you use that link, you can get up to a 5.5K deposit bonus. And only if you use that link, you can get an exclusive 10% discount on all trading fees on the Bitfinex exchange forever. But that's only if you use that link below this video to make your Bitfinex account. And so as another option out there, other than Bybit, one that you can access from the US, for example, there's Bitfinex, links down below if you want to claim those extra bonuses. But with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, because obviously over the last one day, this has worked out perfectly. If you watched my last video before we saw this entire bullish move right here, when the price was basically below $70,000, I said once the price of Bitcoin breaks above around $70,000, once we start hitting this region that was sitting in between around 69.6K to $70,000, I said we have a lot of liquidity in that price range, which means short positions getting liquidated. So I said if we cross above that price range, expect a short squeeze. That will trigger a short squeeze, which is bullish, sending the price much higher. And since then, what have we seen? Well, the price crossed above that area and we saw a short squeeze, a pump exactly as expected, as I said in my last video before we saw the move. And so just in the short term, that is what we have seen and what is continuing to play out right now as of recording this video. We're still technically seeing a short squeeze play out, but with that being said, we're running into this final area of resistance. So just expect the price to potentially struggle in this area in between 72 to 74,000. But if we can clear 74,000, then honestly, we're probably going to the moon after that, because we're entering into new all-time highs. If we can break out above 74,000, which means pretty much no resistance, we're entering into price discovery if we can break that level. And so ultimately, once we enter into new all-time highs, we'd have to look at other signals, not obviously previous price action, but other signals like Fibonacci extensions or overbought signals, for example. Like right now on the daily time frame, technically we're starting to enter into overbought again. So keep that in mind as well. It's possible the price could struggle around resistance as we are in overbought territories, but also keep in mind there's other factors in the market right now, like a short squeeze that is forcing the price higher as short positions are getting liquidated, and also BlackRock buying hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin every single day, essentially based on Monday, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin being bought by BlackRock, pumping the price higher. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the 3-day time frame, and right now Ethereum is technically still in this massive sideways price range in between this area of support and this level of resistance. First of all, this area of support is still sitting in between 2150 to 2.2k, and this massive level of resistance is still sitting at around 2.8k. So 2.8k is definitely the level to break out above in order to flip much more bullish again on the price of ETH here on the larger time frames. But if we're zooming into the 12-hour time frame, obviously we're continuing to play out this bullish trend as of right now here on the 12-hour time frame, forming higher lows and higher highs, and obviously we're remaining above this ascending line of support, which is bullish price structure, as we're bouncing from that level, which was sitting at around 2440 approximately. So right now that is still major support, and we've also just broken out back above this area on the price chart in between around 2550 to 2575, which means that should now be acting as new support. And as for resistance, we have this price range right here, which was previous significant resistance for the price of ETH, and that's sitting in between around 2.7k to 2.8k. So as the price gets closer towards that price range, expect the price of ETH to somewhat struggle in that area as a likely scenario, simply based on previous price action. But like I just said earlier, if we could see a breakout above 2.8k, then we can finally flip a lot more bullish again, not just in the short term, but for a larger move on the larger time frames, expecting a move potentially above $3,000, most likely back up towards around 3.2k if we can clear 2.8k with confirmation. But for now, obviously, that has not currently happened, at least not yet. And on top of the fact that Ethereum is bouncing from key support and of course following similar price action to Bitcoin, another reason why we're seeing this slight relief or bounce here in the short term back to the upside is due to the fact that we're seeing a bullish divergence play out here in the short term, exactly as expected. Obviously, I've been saying that we have a bullish divergence actively playing out here on the 4-hour time frame since pretty much all the way back down here when the price was at around 2460 to 2470, and so far we've continued to play out that bullish divergence as expected in the form of a bullish relief. But ultimately, as of right now, this has pretty much played its part. It could potentially continue to play out for a little longer, maybe the next few hours, possibly another day. But at this point, on the 4-hour Ethereum RSI, we're starting to enter back into overbought territories, which is a sign that we're coming to the end of a bullish divergence actually playing out. So in order to expect more bullish price action beyond this point right here, we need to see other bullish signals, not just this one, but other bullish signals, like for example, a confirmed breakout above this resistance would obviously help to send the price much higher, but we need to see some of those other signals confirmed, like a breakout, before expecting much more bullish price action. So it's possible we could see a little bit more of a bullish relief here, perhaps into this area of resistance, but we need to clear this resistance before flipping much more bullish again on the larger time frames. And if we're taking a look at Solana on the daily time frame, we're seeing similar price action for Solana as what I've been saying for Bitcoin and Ethereum. So right now we're running into this significant area of resistance sitting in between around 182 to 187, give or take. And based on previous price action, that is significant resistance for the price, which means it will be very bullish if we can actually see a daily candle close confirm above around 187. And in that case, if we could see a confirmed breakout above this resistance, we'd likely see a move up towards these previous highs that we set back in March this year, basically in between around $200 to $210 as the next major resistance, resistance if we can first break out above this area, which for now has not yet happened, which means the price could still technically struggle around this area of resistance, especially as the RSI on the daily time frame is getting closer towards overbought territories again, but not there just yet. But overall, the price structure and the momentum on the daily time frame is clearly looking more bullish than bearish as of right now, as we have been breaking out above key levels of resistance, and more importantly, flipping those resistance levels into new support, and of course playing out this massive bullish inverse head and shoulders pattern on the daily Solana chart, which is still technically active, as I've been saying basically every day over the last few weeks here. And the point of the breakout is sitting at around 157 approximately, which means we'd have to break back below that level in order to invalidate this breakout and invalidate this pattern. So for now, obviously this pattern is still technically active with a bullish price target at around $202, so just above $200. And as of right now, we're roughly halfway between the point of the breakout and the price target. So obviously if you took this breakout trading opportunity by entering a long position, for example, or even just buying a bit of Solana at near the breakout here, once we confirmed this breakout, obviously right now you've done very well. Even if we don't make it to the price target and you just take some profits here or have a stop loss in profits, ultimately this has been a profitable trade. But as I've also been saying over and over again here on the channel, even though we have a bullish price target to the upside, don't expect the price to just go straight towards that price target in a straight line. It's very normal to see the occasional pullback along the way during the bullish movement. So keep that in mind, and obviously keep in mind that we still have resistance where the price could potentially struggle at during this larger bullish price structure. But if we're zooming further into the short term on the 4-hour Solana chart, we have just now broken out above this short-term area of resistance that was holding down the price just for a few days here, and that was sitting in between around 177 to 179 approximately. And at least at the time of recording this video, we're currently finding support in that region after recently breaking out above that price range, which is some bullish price structure as well. Once again, when we break out above previous resistance and flip that into new support, obviously that is price structure heading in the bullish direction. But keep in mind there's a possible bearish divergence forming on the 4-hour time frame, with higher highs confirmed in the price in the candle closes and lower highs actually forming in the 4-hour Solana RSI. And we did have a previous bearish divergence right here that confirmed close to a week ago now, with higher highs in the price and lower highs in the RSI. And the result of that previous bearish divergence was a bit of a pullback over the next few days or so before ultimately a further recovery later on. So a bearish divergence is not a trend reversal signal, but can often mean a bit of a reset in the RSI and the price in the form of either a short-term pullback or a bit of a sideways consolidation during the bullish trend. So keep in mind, if we confirm this new bearish divergence, which has not yet been confirmed, but if it does actually confirm with a few red candles confirming in the red, basically confirming the lower high in place in the RSI, in that case, we could see a bit of a slowdown, maybe a slight pullback over the next 1 or 2 days. But technically speaking, we can still remain within the larger bullish trend, even if we confirm a potential bearish divergence here in the short term on a smaller time frame. And ultimately, Solana and a lot of the cryptos out there will likely follow similar price action to what Bitcoin is doing. So like I said in my last video, if Bitcoin breaks out in the short term and plays out that short squeeze, which obviously has happened over the last 1 day, expect a potential breakout here for Solana, which has also happened over the last 1 day. So this is just proving the point that Solana and a lot of cryptos out there follow similar price action, not the exact same price action, but similar price action to what Bitcoin is doing a lot of the time. And once again, if you want to trade these moves in the price of any crypto, check out those links down below this video to claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.